And then word spread, you should sell your house.
Yeah.
And then it's been that way, and the market changed. Interest rates obviously were extremely low, and we zoomed all the way to the top. And I think 2025 is the year that we're going to look back and say,
I think I like you.
All right. Well, welcome back, Jenny.
welcome back, Scott.
Yeah. So one of the things that we did this summer that was my favorite thing was we got the kids' seasons passes to
Six Flags.
Six Flags.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was not my favorite thing we did this summer. But you got me one too.
I did.
It's sort of like the years that I ran the Peachtree Road Race, and then they were...
You ran the Peachtree Road Race?
I did. Well, then the next year, they limited the number of tickets, and I don't remember the numbers. Say it was like 100,000 people got to run, and only like 5,000 didn't. And I was one of the 5,000 that didn't get a ticket, even though I was in the lottery. And I'm like...
Was it because you finished so...
No, that's when I knew God loved me and wanted me to be happy. So anyway, seasons passes to Six Flags. Go ahead.
Yes. And we actually went last week with the girls, rode their favorite ride, I think 5 or 6 times.
That's the Goliath.
The Goliath.
Right.
Yeah. And it goes all the way to the top.
I'm sure you have a point.
All the way to the top. And then it goes all the way to the bottom.
Oh,
and
I
it
see.
reminded me of the real estate market right now.
That's true. We've
Yeah.
only made that joke when we post on social media about Six Flags hundreds of times.
Yes. But
Yeah.
it is true.
The market is a roller coaster.
Yes, it is. So buckle up. I want to talk about it today, I guess.
All right. Well, the market is changing. It's definitely shifting. But I feel like I say that all the time. You know, rarely has there been a time in my career that's going on 15 years that I've said, oh, yes, it's extremely predictable, and here's what's happening next. But I think people do expect that from us at a certain level.
Yeah, we get the question all the time: is where are we at in the market? Are we on the way up to the top of the roller coaster? Are we headed down? Are we at the bottom?
Well, it's easier to know that.
Yeah, that's true. You mean whether or not you're at the top or at the bottom?
Mm-hmm. It's kind of that midpoint. Well, you don't know till you look back. And I think that's another important thing. It's impossible to look to the future. If we looked to the future, if we were able to do that, I would be living on a private island.
Oh, we'd be billionaires.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because then you know what's going to happen in the real estate market, which we don't. But you can look back and see trends and patterns. And that's what we really rely on to know what's happening in the market.
Right.
So what are you seeing right now?
So that's what I was going to say. So we've been over the last 4 or 5 years screaming up in a bull market that is taking us to the top of the roller coaster.
Yeah. But what's interesting about that is I distinctly remember in 2020, before COVID hit, this was in like January, February, rates were going up, and we were hearing that because the market had been pretty good.
Yeah.
And people were saying it's going to pull back again. That we need to prepare for a shift in the market.
Right.
Things were not going to be going that well in the market, and we needed to change our habits. And we went to a huge conference, actually, a real estate conference in February of that year that talked about that information. And by March, the pandemic hit. And
Yeah.
I thought, well, I guess I'm going to starve to death because there's no way anyone's buying a house now.
Oh yeah, I remember it. We had clients pulling their homes off the market.
They said we're not listing.
Yeah. Not listing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not listing.
and-
Buyers were not buying. No one was doing anything.
And in fact, we thought we were literally headed into that recession.
Oh, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you start looking for another job?
I resigned to just starving to death. Me and my children, just take them away somewhere. No, I wasn't. Maybe I was. Actually, yes, I was sort of looking at other opportunities, but it didn't last long. About 4 weeks in, I'll never forget, I had a listing and it went into multiple offers.
Yeah.
And half the people didn't even come see it. Their agents came and saw it for them. And I thought, well, that was weird. And then another one, and then another one. And then word spread, you should sell your house. And then it's been that way. And the market changed. Interest rates obviously were extremely low. And we zoomed all the way to the top. And I think 2025 is the year that we're going to look back and say, and then we started coming down this side of the roller coaster.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I think we're already starting to see that
Yeah.
in certain segments and certain parts of the of the area and the town that we live in. So
What are you seeing?
we've one of the things that we look at is showings. We look at offers, and we had been in multiple offers on pretty much every listing that we have. And we would tell our clients, if we can get you 3 to 5 showings, you're going to have an offer. And now we're starting to see what we saw in the slow market, where we'll see slower. 10 showings would bring an offer, but I don't even think we're seeing that right now. It's 12 to 15 to get that one offer.
Yeah, it's really pulled back. And in fact, for all of 2021, 22, 23, and most of 24, I don't think we had a listing that didn't sell in the first weekend. We're very spoiled.
No, I don't think we did.
Yeah, we're very spoiled. And so were the sellers.
Yeah, they were.
And we would get tons of showings and tons of offers, and they could take their pick. And then 2024, we had a couple where that didn't happen, some that still did. And then this year in 2025, we've definitely had multiple offer situations, but it's been on less than half of the listings.
It has, yeah.
What we're finding now, and in looking for our buyers, is that you don't have to get in that very first weekend.
You don't. And I think it goes back to also, what would you say is the most important piece about selling real estate? Pricing.
I was going to say location. Don't people say location?
Yes, location and pricing. But yeah, it doesn't really matter the location.
That's the most important thing. I think we're going to have to agree to disagree there.
Yeah, I think
it's literally like
important.
a phrase, like location, 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 but whatever. Okay. The location is what it is. And your point is that the pricing of said property in that location is what's going to drive the activity.
That's right. Yeah, because as we know, pricing is a strategy. It is not, a lot of times our sellers get hung up on the price of their property that's listed on the MLS. And what we try to show them is that that is the starting point. And it's either the starting point for a negotiation down, or it's the starting point for a negotiation that's going to net you more offers and a higher price.
Right. So you price and negotiate.
Right. You're going to get a negotiation. You price a sell. Yeah,
you're going to sell.
You're going to sell.
Yeah. But the market will land where the market will land. And we don't have any control over that. And neither does the seller. And really only buyers have control of that, but they only have control of themselves because they can't control what another buyer is willing to do in order to get a property or to not get a property. And I think it's always so important for our sellers to remember that as we're explaining the trends in the market and what they can expect, setting those expectations is really important.
Yeah.
We did have expectations set. Get out of your house for 3 full days and we'll have this under contract on a Monday. And now it's prepare to maybe have your home sit on the market a little bit longer. Prepare for second showings. Prepare for some negotiation. And as long as you have an expert in your corner who sees enough in the market to understand these things, whatever happens in the market, whatever shifts may go on, doesn't matter as long as you understand what to expect.
Right.
And I think that the missed expectations is really what's driving the market right now, because sellers still think we're in 2021. Buyers think we're in, 2008.
They do.
And we're having an interesting mix of what's going on.
Yeah, it's almost like we've hit this standstill where you've got sellers that are going, I'm not believing the market's changing.
Right.
And buyers are going, the market's changed.
Right.
And so until one of them gives or one of them breaks, we're kind of at this little bit of a lock in the market.
Rates are higher. Prices have gone up. And then there are these other factors in the market. Insurance rates are really high. Property taxes are really high. And it's not very affordable to buy a home for a lot of buyers. So they need to feel some sort of a win in this market, right? They maybe need to be able to negotiate or feel like the house that they're getting a little bit of a deal on, where sellers feel like, well, Phil down the street sold 6 months ago for X price. I should be able to get that too. And it's not happening anymore in the market. The prices aren't necessarily going up. They're staying the same. And in some cases, they're pulling back.
Right. Yeah.
So what do you think that means for the market as a whole as we are here filming this in the fall of 2025?
Yeah, I think the tendency is for people to want to panic and feel like, oh, we're in this market that is 2008.
Right.
And it's just not.
Right.
We don't have the same lending guidelines. We don't have the same inventory, new construction inventory. There's a lot of things you could kind of look at and go, we're not in the same market as 2008, but we are in a market that is slowing down. One of the things that we always look at is inventory. what makes something a buyer's market, what makes something a seller's market, and how many months of inventory is a buyer's market.
6 months.
6 months. And what are we at right now?
Around 6 months.
Yeah. So
little
we're
less, but
a little less. So we're kind of in that balanced market where it's
Mhm.
not really a seller's market, but it's not a buyer's market.
And
So-
frankly, that's the best kind of market, right? Both feel like they win and both feel like they lose a little, and no one necessarily has the upper hand, but we've just experienced such dramatic swings on either side for so many years that that's just not what we're used to.
right.
But they should get used to it.
They should. And I think to your point earlier, the bigger thing is really just understanding the market is the market. And you need to have an expert and somebody that can guide you through the market, whatever it is,
Right.
to help you with your goals of real estate, whether it's buying a home, selling a home, investing in a property, understanding what all the conditions are to make it make your best offer.
That's right. So I think what I would say to our clients is just remember it's us and them against the market,
Yeah.
not the other way around, and have a trusted advisor all the time. So,
Yep.
well, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks for giving me your insights on the market, and so glad I got to share mine.
You too, Jenny. See you next time.
Just remember, location, location, location.
Price, price, price.
Gosh.